Imagine two of the biggest stars in tennis right now, both walking away from the exact same Grand Slam tournament, but ending up in two completely different worlds. One flew straight to a luxury resort, while the other was escorted directly into a royal palace. This is the shocking reality of women's tennis right now. A dramatic contrast that most mainstream sports media completely missed. And it involves the world #1 and a rising 21-year-old phenom who just changed the sport forever. Aryna Sabalenka, the fierce world #1, spent the second week of Wimbledon relaxing on a sun-drenched Greek beach in a bikini, sipping drinks and posting glamorous vacation content with her fiancé Georgios Frangoulis. Before she even boarded the flight, she bluntly told reporters she just wanted to go get completely drunk, forget about tennis, and try to get into better shape. She walked into the interview room with what she called no emotions after a stunning 3-set loss to Naomi Osaka. But at that exact same moment, while Sabalenka was posting beach photos that were blowing up across threads, AOL and the Sunday Guardian, Alex Eala was making history. The 21-year-old was walking through the grand doors of Malacanang Palace to accept a prestigious presidential citation from the president of the Philippines himself, Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Standing inside that historic palace, Eala's career prize money had just crossed a massive milestone, a figure printed on the WTA's official website for the entire world to see, over $1.12 million. What President Marcos said during that official ceremony didn't just celebrate a spectacular tennis result, it turned her victory into a powerful statement of national identity. You need to watch this entire video until the end because the unbelievable contrast between these two players this July is one of the most compelling, unspoken stories in modern tennis, and the fallout is heading straight toward a massive summer collision. To truly understand how we got here, we have to look at the context, because context explains everything. Aryna Sabalenka entered Wimbledon 2026 as the undisputed world #1, and she made sure her presence was loud. All year long, she had been standing at the absolute front of the controversial prize money fight. She famously cut a Roland Garros press conference short during a tense player protest. She and Coco Gauff had even floated the radical idea of a Grand Slam player boycott. Sabalenka was even aggressively challenged in a press conference about whether wearing expensive luxury diamonds while lecturing tournaments about lower player pay was slightly hypocritical. Then the grass of Wimbledon happened. Sabalenka dropped her very first set to Naomi Osaka 6-2, ultimately losing the match in 3 intense sets. Defeated, she packed her bags for Greece. Meanwhile, Alex Eala was still on the grass at SW19, fighting through grueling rounds, carrying the dreams of an entire nation on her back. Mainstream Western coverage completely glossed over what Eala actually achieved during this historic Wimbledon run. In round 1, she absolutely handled Zarazua in dominant straight sets, 6-1, 6-2, clean, clinical, and efficient. In round 2, against Maya Joint, Eala dropped the tight first set 6-3. What happened next wasn't just a regular comeback. It was an absolute takeover. Eala locked in and won 12 of the next 14 games. Let that sink in for a second. With that explosive victory, she became the first Filipino player in history to win a main draw match at Wimbledon in the Open era. But she wasn't done making waves. In round 3, she faced the defending Wimbledon champion and world #3 seed, Iga Swiatek. In a match that left fans breathless, Eala took down the champion 7-6 in a brutal tiebreak, before dismantling her 6-2 in the second set. When Swiatek walked into her post-match press conference, she didn't blame injuries or bad luck. Instead, she admitted it was hard to accept the missed returns from Eala's slow, tactical serves. Read between the lines carefully. The defending Grand Slam champion was essentially telling the world that Eala's craft, her brilliant variety, and her elite mental strength completely beat her. That is not a concession a world-class champion like Swiatek makes lightly. By the round of 16, Eala faced Jasmine Paolini. It was a 3-set thriller, 4-6, 6-4, 3-6. Eala clawed her way back, fought for every single point, and though she lost the final set, tennis royalty took notice. The legendary Roger Federer was sitting right there in the stands, watching her every move. When Eala stepped up to the microphone afterward, showing maturity way beyond her 21 years, she stated that the only thing she could control was how she approached those situations. She said that if she approaches them with bravery, a steady mind, and high intensity, she can look back with absolutely no regret. No regret. Just pure confidence. And exactly 7 days after that final match, she was standing tall in Malacanang Palace. On July 13, 2026, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. formally conferred a presidential citation on Alexandra Eala, with her proud parents Mike and Riza standing right beside her. The buzz around this event was so massive that a major Rappler fact-check had to confirm the exact title was indeed a presidential citation, debunking viral clickbait pages that were mislabeling it as a special presidential award. The very fact that major media outlets are fact-checking the exact terminology of the honor tells you everything you need to know. This ceremony was monumental and accuracy mattered. This is the exact same category of rare state recognition previously given to boxing legend Manny Pacquiao and Olympic gold medalist Hidilyn Diaz. Pacquiao earned his spot after decades of blood and sweat in the ring. Diaz earned hers by securing the first-ever Olympic gold for her country. Eala earned her spot at just 21 years old, coming straight from a grass court in London. At the podium, President Marcos looked directly at her and said that she never failed to remind everyone that she is a Filipina, and what she did showed the whole world exactly what a Filipino athlete is all about. Eala then stepped to the microphone and proudly declared the words an entire nation had been waiting to hear from a Grand Slam stage. "I am proud to be Filipino." There is a deep layer to this story that most tennis analysts completely skipped over. Think about every single fan who stayed up past midnight constantly refreshing online scoreboards. Think about every person in the global Filipino diaspora checking live scores during their short lunch breaks. Everyone who watched her grind through Zarazua, dominate joint, and shock Swiatek. For years, critics said she was just a long-term project, a prospect, someone to watch out for in the distant future. That patience from the fans just got repaid on the WTA's official website in 6 figures with a comma. The dedicated fans weren't early. They were completely right. And if you need one final receipt of her greatness, look at what Sabalenka herself said before any of this drama unfolded. In a featured interview, the world #1 publicly praised Eala's intense dedication in practice. Sabalenka saw exactly who Alex Eala was long before the palace gates opened, long before the $1.12 million career earnings line, and long before Malacanang. She just never imagined she would be watching the massive payoff of that dedication from a beach chair in Greece. ESPN called Eala's Wimbledon run definitive proof that she belongs among the world's elite. The Guardian's front page headline read, "Rising star Alexandra Eala wins hearts and minds." Those words matter, but global media praise is not her ceiling. Her ceiling is a head of state. President Marcos's own Instagram post summed up the entire national sentiment in just 3 words: "Our Alex Eala." That framing isn't just a simple sports celebration. It is massive soft power. Southeast Asia historically does not have Grand Slam infrastructure. It doesn't have a Roland Garros feeder system or a wealthy tennis federation writing massive development checks. Every single dollar of Eala's career earnings was earned completely outside the traditional historical tennis pipeline. And she conquered it anyway. Now here is what is coming next. And this is where the tennis world gets incredibly exciting. Alex Eala is set to open her North American hardcourt campaign at the Mubadala City DC Open in Washington, running from July 27th through August 2nd. Meanwhile, Sabalenka begins her high-stakes Cincinnati Open title defense on August 7th. If both of them successfully come through their early rounds and the tournament draws cooperate, a massive collision course points straight at the U.S. Open Series. It will be the world number 28 versus the world number 1 on fast hard courts, with all the heavy drama that happened this July stacked right behind them. That is a blockbuster match this sport now has a genuine, gripping reason to market. Rewind the whole month one more time to look at the unbelievable journey. Zarazua in straight sets. Joint for the first Open-era Wimbledon main draw win for the Philippines. Swiatek, the defending champion, completely dismantled in a tiebreak. Roger Federer watching from the stands. Paolini in 3 sets with no regret. A president at the podium with a citation in her hands. And the WTA quietly updating her $1 million status. The gap between the world number 1 and the world number 28 this month is not measured in ranking points. It is measured in where each of them chose to stand after the final ball was hit at Wimbledon. Sabalenka picked a beach. Eala picked a palace. Only one of those choices puts a 21-year-old in the same legendary recognition category as Pacquiao and Hidalgo Diaz.